There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated. Um,
Okay, I should probably end it there because the music. I am Chillmonger, and just this past Friday, the news that they drop on Friday, as you guys know, is sort of stuff that we can slip under the rug. It was revealed, or it was decided, or they've come to the ending of the relationship between Victoria Alonso and Marvel Studios. Not, she's no longer going to be the director of post production or physical production. She's gone. She's not there anymore. This is not necessarily a firing. The wording here on the Hollywood Reporter article just says veteran Victoria Alonso exits Marvel exclusive. One second. Sorry, I had nuts in my mouth. Like these. These were in my mouth. Look, this news story is pretty big. We can look at it for many different ways. If you don't know what Victoria Alonso does, here I'm going to open up something from 2 years ago. It's a Deadline article that I found that I was reading up on that tells us what she's been promoted to. Hope you guys can see that on the screen. Let me make it full screen. And it says here, yeah, Marvel promotes Victoria to president of physical and post production, the VFX, and the animation. Guys, what has they been having a problem? Oh my god, that was a hiccup. What have they been having a problem over there at Marvel Studios? It's VFX. We keep hearing the horror stories. Every time I watch a Marvel movie, and I noticed when I sit for the end credits, dang, there's a lot of VFX people here, and there's a lot of money going to this. Maybe getting rid of her will result in better usage of the VFX budget. There's a lot of ways I can read into it, but with her and the one helming VFX and animation out, that does change every Marvel movie going forward. And when I think of the 2021 Marvel movies, because that is when she was promoted in year, let me see here, it was, well, this article was written in the year 2021. It should say so. There should be like a time stamp, maybe it's towards the final at the ending, or you can just take my word for it because I'm not a liar. When this happened in year 2021, the movies that have come out since then were movies like Black Widow, no real big issues with the VFX there. Shang-Chi, no real issues with the VFX there. You were never going to have VFX issue. It was more successful for its fighting, right? You think about Quantumania, and you think about other VFX heavy. They did feel like, and there's other people who can speak better on this, but I can see how people could see, and it doesn't bother me. I'm not against Victoria Alonso on this. I can see how people say it's inorganic. It just looks like they're shot in the front of screens and there's no essence to this movie. I've seen that complaint. Well, the VFX head is now out of here, like Vladimir. Victoria Alonso has been promoted to president, physical and post production. That's a big deal too. Everything that they do, whether it's Disney Plus or movie wise, if she's no longer, and she's reporting to Louis Desposito, if she's no longer the one at the helm of that, that changes every Marvel movie that we're going to get. She's no longer in the room to say stupid things like the X-Men is outdated. No one even asked her if the X-Men was outdated. If I showed you that clip, the beginning of the clip, more so talking about what's happening in the future. But she's not going to be here, and that's pretty positive news. Ding dong, the witch is dead, to match your shirt, Shell. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's dinner time. What if you have no complaints? Mike, if you don't have a complaint about her, I can tell you what she's been up to and what this Victoria Alonso relieving, not fired. We don't know if she was fired. We don't know sorry, Mike, let me just go on a side tangent. This, maybe she's having a health issue, okay? Family, there could be a lot of crises that's making her leave, not like her role is being diminished. Oh, go back to what you're best at and we'll have somebody else take care of it. Or maybe you shouldn't post produce the next movie that's coming out, but you can definitely be back for Thunderbolts. They're just getting rid of her. Maybe she's also choosing to go. There's a lot of speculation of how she's leaving. Maybe, hey, listen, out of 17 years of commitment to you, Victoria, and what you've given to us, we're not going to fire you. We'll allow for you to release yourself. You know, like make it look like it's your idea. If anyone asks, because me, I'm your boy. I'm Kevin. I'm with you, Victoria. I appreciate everything. So out of the grace of my heart, and just I want you to find another position after this. I'm not going to say she was fired from Marvel. Just leave. That could be the case too. I will offer counter arguments like this. She was speaking on a podcast that was called the Man Enough Podcast. And there's a clip that I'm about to show you, which kind of makes her look maybe noble would be the correct word, if this is her taking accountability.
I don't walk around saying I'm the big kahuna, but I walk around saying I'll take the hit for you because I am your boss.
Got it.
I'll take the hit. It's my responsibility. I won't go finger pointing. Finger pointing is for cowards. So if you're the boss and you're failing, it's on me. So rest on my shoulders. So it's not really this. It's more like, come on, just they're strong. I got ya.
Okay, that sounds good, doesn't it? When she talks about the failures, and this clip was like from almost a year ago. When she's talking about failures, since then, the Wakanda Forever box office made 65% of what the first movie made. We've had Quantumania, which we're sitting now at. It hasn't even reached 500 million yet. It's like at 460 roughly. Let me actually get the straight number. It's only 2 clicks away. 462 million worldwide as of Monday evening Toronto time. This movie's doing poor and might not reach 600. It probably will reach 500, okay? But when you consider the budget that they put into this and marketing and the fact that Ant-Man and Wasp back in 2018, that film made 622 million, sitting now at 460 million after like 4 weekends, you know that that's considered a failure. 5 weekends, I should say. That's a considered failure. The VFX, the post-production, they, over at Marvel, decided that they're going to cease the relationship with this client, with the staff member. I was almost going to say woman, but you know how people can take your words. Oh, he's anti-women. But they're getting ceasing relationship with Victoria Alonso. And maybe this is going to result in improved movies, or at least a unique movie, different style of movie. Coming up next, we have Captain Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, which James Gunn has his hands on and very influential there. He's not budging, doesn't need to, not afraid to lose his job type of guy, already did. So I think that movie is going to be very James Gunny. Kind of like how Ryan Coogler had a very Ryan Coogler Black Panther. I think that Captain Marvel 2, since it has been delayed, again, it's not going to happen anymore in the scheduled time at July. It's going to be over in November. Great news. We talked about this a time ago. I was chatting with Marcus from Back of the Bus, and we were talking about how when you have a football season, and you have ABC, ESPN, and all of these people watching your channel, you can advertise. Disney, ABC, same company. You can advertise your Marvel movies as well. And it's going to be beneficial. More people will, the marketing dollars, the marketing budget will be used more powerfully than a movie that comes out in July. So Captain Marvel 2 has been pushed back. Hey, is it because of Teyana Paris and Brie Larson warring each other? Is it because of they needed more time for VFX? Well, she's the president of the VFX, isn't she? She's the leader in that department, isn't she? Post-production, isn't she? Well, they're delaying the post-production aspect of it. I'm not mad at that. She had a lot to do with the Ms. Marvel show, a show where they didn't have her using her superpowers from the comic books. They said, well, we'll do a superhero, and it's going to be different superpowers. I'm still not over that. I'll never be over that. How you could change a person's superhero abilities in your show. She's out. She had a lot to do with that programming. They say that she's like the advocate for diversity, and that I'm comfortable with. That I'll wear that same hat. But she's the advocate for the mental stuff too, of how we can just use what this character is known for. Got the beautiful poster. But this guy here, the Hulk, this guy, his powers and everything he's all about could be transferred over to Jen. People will accept it. Or Thor. There was 2 Thors, wasn't there? So it's not just about this guy over here with the hammer. If you just apply that same hammer, give Thor a new hammer, but let's give it to somebody else, we'll see what happens. Well, we did see what happened. We saw a second Hawkeye. Movie-wise, we saw a second Black Panther. And that character up there, oh, that's not even Shuri. That's Falcon up there. Where's Shuri? Where you at, Shuri? You got to be here. T'Challa's here, but this Walmart poster does not have Shuri. It was created. I got it. I bought it before the movie came out. Agent Coulson and Nick Fury. A lot of these mantle swapping things that she's about. Welcome to the show, Big Afford Entertainment.
What up, Chill?
Hey, I hear you now. A lot of these mantle things, she was the one behind it. She was in support of it. All right. Good to know that you're not going to be here in influential capacity. Victoria Alonso is out. As Skip and Tosh said as the first comment here, ding dong, the witch is dead. Alonso, before I read get to you, let me read a couple of these because they are a little bit late. Her employment at Marvel is outdated. Yeah, because the X-Men are outdated, right? Because the word men are in it. It's not like the women in the Olympics don't compete in the Iron Man competition, right? The letters MAN are in the word woman. English is not her first language, clearly, so I'll give her that pass. I didn't give her a pass. I still used it, right? Did you see that video that I posted, Anzo?
Which one?
I'll play it again 11 minutes later into the street.
Yeah, I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated.
Oh, her.
That woman. Mm-hmm. That was her right in 2019. Okay. I hope she's okay. Very sweet of you. Okay. Mike Porter making me feel like a jerk right now. She didn't get fired. She didn't get canned. She got the ability to say that she left Marvel. She will find another employment. But also, like she said earlier, like she takes this on her back. If something is failing, I'm the boss. I wear that. I have to own it. She's gone. How do we know she didn't go to Kevin Feige and say, listen, after the last few performances, I am the problem and I'm out? If she did that, that's a big move. Like, that's a move that if I knew the answer to that, I would come over here on YouTube and say, respect to somebody for admitting that they're wrong, because people usually don't do that. I would love if Nate Moore, Ryan Coogler, and Kevin Feige said we were wrong about the T'Challa decision. Of course I went there, Alonzo. Of course I went there.
I knew it was coming. Don't worry.
But like, people admitting that they're wrong is a big deal, right? So yeah, while you hope she's okay, yeah. Maybe not 500 million. Ant-Man and Wasp was getting
my thing is, though, do you really believe that someone in that high power really wants to admit or will admit that they were wrong? I don't think so.
It doesn't happen. This is the closest we'll get. We just got to read the tea leaves. You got some crazy background noise right now.
Oh, sorry.
You got to read the tea leaves, and you got to hope that this is admitting that they're wrong, or at least it's a direction in fixing, rehabbing what's been wrong. Since the Marvel's The Avengers in 2012, where she kind of gained more power in this company, things have been perfectly fine. It's not until we get to the fourth phase after Endgame, and after they thought that Captain America and Iron Man no longer being there, it was fine. That's when we started getting into the box office not being hits. When they stopped doing Avengers movies because for whatever reason, that's when we stopped, when they started doing new heroes who were not the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, I guess for diversity's reasons. And I'm fine with diversity. I'm all for diversity, but you didn't execute it successfully. Then
I agree. I think that they're waiting too long to even bring out the X-Men at this point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, we should have something with them. Even the Fantastic Four people are looking forward to, but I think they're really looking forward to seeing the X-Men. Like, there's no mention of them yet. That's crazy. So.
Sorry, I was just getting the screen ready. So this is the Hollywood Reporter article from today. And Mike says, I wear a big man's hat. Sorry, obscure reference. I have no idea what you're talking about. Hopefully Nate Moore is next. Oh, man. So this was today. Victoria Alonso, the long-time and high-profile Marvel Studios executive whose time with the company dates back to the first Iron Man, has left the studio. Multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter. What does it mean when multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter? It means people who actually work there talked to the Hollywood Reporter and said, it's okay for you to release this here on this Monday. They must have kept that canning or firing, quote-unquote firing, of Victoria Alonso really quiet for it to have been happening in Friday and nobody reported on it until this Monday morning.
Mm. What's her major role was what?
Here in the Deadline article that I opened a few minutes ago, it says she's been promoted to the president of physical and post-production, visual effects, and animation production. That's a lot. Like the VFX,
for sure.
We've been talking about VFX workers, complaints, and rights and stuff like that when it comes to the VFX department, right? We've noticed that lately. That's been a conversation online. She's the president.
That a lot of the effects don't look good, and it's like, yeah, that doesn't look too good. Yeah, maybe she's cutting back on some of the effect stuff. You know what I mean? Like the budget for them, that could be a possibility too. And with Marvel seeing their movies decline, someone's gonna feel that. You know what I mean? So
SSJK.Sanctum is here.
What up, Alonzo and Chill?
What up, Chill?
Are you done dancing? Yeah, what did you say?
I said, what up, Chill? And what up, K-Dot?
You done dancing from the Victoria Alonso news?
Oh, I'm so glad she's gone. Freak her. Namor's next. Feige can stay, but they both got to go.
I guess Feige has to stay for stability. And even Nate Moore, as much as Trinity believes that Nate Moore is a schmuck for not hiring or for celebrating that they don't actually hire people who are fans. Yeah, look at him. Look at that dance.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just a little.
Look, Chill. I'm not trying to be like a certain type of people that are doing it with another company right now. You know what I'm talking about. But both of them need to go. They both need to go. How even though Victoria Alonso been there for years, her comments like the X-Men name is outdated.
I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated.
Like that stuff is too many red flags, and even the stuff Nate Moore said, which even in these DC films, they probably do it too. They don't hire exactly comic book fans, but the fact they don't hire people that really care about the material, right? Care. I'm not saying you need to be a fan, but care. It's like y'all throwing some red flags out there, and y'all are very high up in this studio. You got me worried. Like Feige has said a lot of things that probably threw me off guard, but never anything like that. He never said stuff like that. Never came out of his mouth. I'll say that much.
He's had his misspeakings, but never something like that. Trinity.
Yes, certainly not.
Kevin Feige, Nate Moore, Victoria Alonso, Luis Esposito. Of these four, if you could get rid of one, which would have you been?
The first one that we got today, Victoria. Next in line is definitely Nate Moore. I mean, honestly, I feel like Luis Esposito probably actually has a lot to do with everything that's been going on too, just as much as Kevin Feige. But I think with a lot of the stuff that we've been getting, a lot of this discussions going on over the past couple of years is, I mean, complaints from fans, from visual effects studios, from everywhere. It's kind of been visual, just like the visual effects from fans, how it looks trashy. We've heard from we've heard from people that work for companies who work for the studio about how they're treated. Now, I'll give them that maybe there's the person who is their boss, who's running their visual effects studio, but I think there's obviously pressure from Marvel as well. I mean, people want to take these jobs still, even with all the talk. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, where do the time restraints come from? The time constraints come from Marvel Studios themselves.
Exactly, and it all starts there. And she's been there since the very beginning, and she's kind of made. If you watch all the behind the scenes, she's kind of made a big deal that she's prominent in doing this and that, and that's all fine. But then you see where things start to break down, and I've been wondering for quite a while, why is nobody talking about replacing Victoria Alonso? It's not even the stupid comments she made. Look where we're at.
And look what she's behind. Visuals and animation, physical production, and post-production. I'm not going to pretend I know what physical production is, but does anyone here know what physical production actually means?
No.
Okay.
I was going to ask, though, do you think she's the reason why they're calling it the Mutants and not the X-Men?
I mean, yes. Feige was gassing up the name, so I think they both agreed on it. Yeah. But, she does have influence with him. Like, it's not like Feige's just like, he is the boss. He has the final say. but since she's been there working with him for so long, they have a relationship to where he might be so willing to just kind of co-sign with her a lot on stuff.
Maybe he does look towards his diverse room. He's got someone who's Latina. Nate Moore, he brings a little something different, and he trusts these people and their judgment so much, and he just like, you guys tell us what to do. Or, all right, we're killing T'Challa, the greatest black superhero that's ever. Oh yeah, okay. Oh okay, you guys want to do that with Hawkeye? Okay, we're changing Ms. Marvel's superpowers, but it's okay because as long as she's a Muslim character, we're still doing representation. Is that right? Okay, sure, guys. Maybe Kevin Feige is just like, and I'm making excuses for him, obviously, but maybe he's just like, okay, I'll just go with what the other people say because, that diversity is our strength. So we got to trust in people, not just put them in positions, but also listen to them. Maybe. And then Kevin Feige will fix up with someone in position, hopefully still. I mean, I'm all for black people getting jobs and Latinos getting jobs. I'm all for that. So hopefully the next person who comes in here isn't just the standard default white guy, which we've been having in Marvel and we've been having in Hollywood for years and years, just for the sake of having diverse voices in the decisions room. But the decisions are great, not what we've been getting out of Victoria Alonso.
I think with Feige, and I'm gonna use George Lucas for example. George Lucas was the head of Star Wars for so many years. Yep. And it was certain points where stuff was kind of out of his control. He's the boss. He has final say. Stuff like the
Trinity, I can hear your plastic bag.
What's those books again?
EU,
the
Legends,
EU stuff. He allowed people to do the EU stuff, but it got to a point where like, yes, at some point the EU was canon, but people was like mixing the EU with his stuff that he wasn't really deeming as canon. And even though, yes, he could have put a stop to it, but you see later in years when he decided to finally sell Star Wars and move on from it because he noticed there was a decline in stuff. This stuff wasn't running the way it needed to. He also wanted to get away from the fandom. He just like, man, I got to hang it up at this. I can't handle this because once you get so big, you have to hire people to do certain stuff for you. But those people aren't you. They're going to make decisions based off. Yes, you have a criteria, but they are making those decisions. They don't know. They're not in your head. They're not in George Lucas' head making these decisions and stuff. And it's just, I think Feige's in that position because it makes sense. Look where he's at now. He's literally like, he wasn't at the head years prior. He was a figure. Ike Perlmutter used to be a head at one point.
Yeah.
And once Ike left, he slowly started being able to rise up and get to where he's at now.
Now, with Ike Perlmutter and his noise about Black Panther can't make money, Captain Marvel can't make money, I'm happy Ike Perlmutter's gone. I would see a Victoria Alonso as an opposite on an extreme, but an opposite of Ike Perlmutter and that philosophy. If the rumors are to be believed that he was
Ike Perlmutter sucked. He sucked.
Yeah, but at least we got characters who didn't happen to all look the same with the Victoria Alonso and the Kevin Feige era of decision making. Who do we get back though? Look. Jared asks this question. Alonso, I'll let you answer. Does Feige now take her responsibilities, or do they give more to Nate Moore? Let's hope not. Or does someone else get hired? What would you do, Alonso?
I think Feige should take over, and you could probably hire someone to do it too. But I think it should be Feige. I mean, I've had faith in Feige from the start, right? And I was gonna say, at one point, wasn't he the one that said he was gonna quit if he didn't get like a Captain Marvel or a Black Panther done, right? So maybe he had a lot to do with the problems that they're having now as well, But I'll go with his track record, and I'll say so far, first 3 phases have been on point. You know what I mean? There were some bad movies in there, some really good movies in there. I think phase 4 pretty much stunk it up. So I'm gonna give him a chance to see what he can do with phase 5, and hopefully the movies get better now that she's
a lot of phase 5 is set in stone. When they decided the movies that they're gonna show are Guardians 3, okay, safe. Captain Marvel 2, that's risky. Blade, we don't know what's going on over there. Thunderbolts and Falcon New World Order, not the movies that I would have made. Who's laughing?
Kate out there.
What happened?
He said Falcon New World Order. You got it right.
No.
I do that so naturally. I didn't even realize it. Yeah,
You
that's
know
right.
what I mean? It's Captain America, New World Order.
No, it's the Black Falcon.
But look, wait, well, real quick, if you guys, and this is another thing why I want Nate Moore to go, and it's not really because the T'Challa thing, but this too. If you guys remember that article he put out, not what he put out, but what he said, where he wanted Sam Wilson to struggle more, to really earn the mantle, and this was after Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropped. Now, me personally, I don't call Sam Captain America, but I respect the fact that Steve gave him that shield. He can do whatever he wants with that shield. He earned it. He already earned it sticking by Steve for over 5 years in the MCU. Why does he, as the Black character, need to struggle more? Steve didn't have to struggle that much. He did one great act and became Captain America instantly. Not saying Steve didn't do nothing, but why does the Black character have to struggle more? Like, why? Why do you have to? Why does it have to be a thing? He struggled enough. Now let him have his reward.
Feige is to blame for Phase 4 as well. People need to stop giving him passes. I'm with you, Snyder Steppenwolf.
He does have a part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No one. You're right. No one is saying that he doesn't have to take some blame for it.
Then Carlos Green writes his comment, Onzo. Feige was not the problem. She used the Me Too movement. Oh, I already disagree with this, but let's read what he's going to say. To gain a foothold to power, Feige is about that money. He's about that what? What's he about? What's he about, Mike?
Absolutely.
Mercedes Botchamania. What? All I see is missed botches, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
And then my friend Carlos Green writes, if he was about being woke, Phase 1 would have shown it during that time period. Carlos Green, thank you for confirming that you chill in white circles. Well, the word woke was not very common prior to year 2020, and then
it wasn't even it was actually at that time woke was.
It was like alertness to something anti-Black.
It was used in the right way back then, and also times was different because back at that time you can come out with something like Tropic Thunder and put RDJ in blackface, and people would not trip about it.
They put RDJ's character in blackface.
They
difference that changes everything.
Like times was so much different. Things have changed now to the landscape of film and the social climate with these movies, social and political.
Comics, give us your take. Oh, go ahead, Trinity.
Oh, I was gonna say. I mean, I do think Kevin Feige does have some culpability, but the thing is, like, he was there from the start. A lot of this stuff wouldn't have taken off without him. It would have took off without Victoria. It would have took off without Nate Moore. It would have done a lot of stuff without them. He would have different people in place. Now we lose Victoria. I mean, hey, that's a good thing. That doesn't mean who we're going to get, as we're talking about now, is going to be a good thing. It doesn't mean they're going to be good. Right. They might be bad. It might be worse. I mean, and the thing is, like, they need to get somebody good. I don't care who it is, as long as they get somebody good that can get the ship turned the right way of where it needs to be going. I mean, I think it's kind of going in the right direction still. Like, they're not far off course. They just need to re-steer a little bit, like recalibrate.
I agree, 100%. They're not really like DC level of content. You know what I mean?
Whoa! Hey, no need to attack DC on the screen.
You know what? And the Shazam is the saddest excuse of all of that. It's because the movie's actually a pretty decent movie, but then they even give implications. It's tied to something. It's tied to nothing. There's nothing going to happen with this movie. Into the future, it doesn't matter even if it did good. They weren't going to do nothing with this, and it kind of sucks because it was a pretty good movie.
But shouldn't the movie stand as a good movie on its own? Like, you shouldn't be seeing the connections. It shouldn't have value because it connects to something. That's where
they shouldn't have made the connections. They made the connections, not us. They made them.
You said
made the connections.
So are there I haven't seen it yet. So are there?
There's definitely implications in the second movie, but in the first movie they did it. They made it seem like it's tied to a larger universe, and it's not. And it never was.
Well, they have the obvious connections in there from like the previous, before because like I said, Shazam 2 is a movie that was made way before the reboot. Like they made it near this reboot, and then yes, there's a different story. But like I said, for me, for the most part, with Shazam 2, it's David Zaslav who's at fault. He moved it out of December to a crowded March. He didn't promote the movie, and that's another problem. And I always said this about DC films. They suck off they suck off Batman so much that they'll promote his movies like they're God tier. Superman, maybe. Green Lantern, maybe. Wonder Woman, yeah, they put heavy promotion inside because that's their official first like big budget female led movie in this Wonder Woman. But even then, there is a bias with promotion because Shazam should be getting promoted like Batman. Like, I'm sorry, but if you care about your brand, you got to promote it all like it matters. That's one thing I'll say about the trash MCU. They promote all their characters somewhat the same. Like, I guarantee when Agatha Harkness comes out, that garbage, she's going to be promoted like a WandaVision. WandaVision has pretty good promotion. I'm not going to lie. But I guarantee she's going to be promoted like a WandaVision television show.
I'm all for diversity, but it's got to be done in the right way and manner. Well, I'm with you there. Female Thor. Actually, I'm not.
Wait. Hold on. What exactly? See, because I get tired of this comment in all of these across the spectrum. What is exactly the right way? Because what if my right way isn't your right way?
Why are you stepping in on me? I'm going to say what you're going to say. I'm like, you just want to be right before I'm right. I'm just going to say, no, it's not about doing it the right way. It's don't do it the wrong way. There's incorrect ways to push diversity. There's totally terrible ways that are destructive. Like, for example, I say this all the time. When you swap the race of a character for the sake of, look, we got somebody black now here, the destruction is you empower a whole bunch of hateful people who are going to say, they're replacing us, you see? And they have fuel in their fire. When we could just get black characters without empowering hateful people who will attract people to their cause. So it's not necessarily about doing it the right way. Just do it, but don't do it the wrong way. Don't do it in a harmful manner.
You know what I'm going to say, Chill? Oh, just real quick, Chill. You know what I'm going to say? Mm-hmm. I want that because then I want to know where certain people stand, right? When you
already know.
Hate people say, yeah, but there's some people out there that still hide it, though. You know what I mean? And the more they talk about it and complain about it, then I'm like, okay, so I see where you are now. So I don't mind that. Yeah, let them talk. Let them expose themselves, right? Because at this time, I think a lot of people hide their racism. You know what I mean? They hide it because they don't want to get canceled or anything like that. But when you do stuff like this, you at least show me you may be on the verge of being there. So.
But the thing is, like, the popular 6 or 7 YouTubers who are about that, we all know are bad. There are people who don't. There are people who are just like, yeah. Why can't you make criticism on Riva? There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm like, no, the people who you watch would criticize Riva, a lot of them already hated her before the show even came out.
They're not criticizing her character. Like, I did not hate Kenobi. It was below average. But at the end of it, I hated Riva's character. And it ain't because she's black. I was there defending her when those people were literally slandering her, sending DMs to her saying, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that was before we saw her survive Vader stabbing her at
that was
youngling and as an adult.
And I didn't know she's going to be a good character or not, but it's like the people that, even if the character came out bad, they still would try to blame the fact like, oh, why'd you make this original new black character? That's not the problem with her character.
I saw the same comic book people complain about. What are you doing with Riri? What are you doing with? Oh, give us the original. Where's Monica Rambeau Photon? Use her. Well, it's been like 3 years. There's a comic called Monica Rambeau Photon. And how do those sell over at your shop, World Comics? Do they sell as much as Spider-Man? Do they sell as much as the X-Men, or just as much as Riri?
Actually, it sells more than the X-Men, but not as much.
Shut the front door. I'm very
dude. X-Men. They have systematically I realized back in 2016 when Marvel realized that they didn't own the rights to the X-Men, the movie rights, so they decided what they were going to do. They felt it was in their best interest to bury the X-Men and emphasize the Inhumans.
Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen a company do, other than put Joe Quesada in charge of Spider-Man, in my entire life. So it sells. It actually, Monica's been selling pretty well, but I think I with this stuff, I heard you mention about Kamala. And how, as long as she was Muslim, we didn't have to give her powers and all that. But see, when it comes to stuff like that, I blame the quote unquote fans and also the fans, because you get all of these. And I don't know if there's a person that works for Marvel who watches, what's trending, or watches, like Twitter or any of that stuff, because that when they introduced Reed Richards, that they would say he was appropriating Kamala's powers.
Oh yeah.
That would happen. And they decided they were going, and I'm not saying it's right, and it's definitely wrong, but they are taking the easy way out instead of all, like, I felt the Namor thing was okay. Like, they didn't make it from Atlantis or whatever, but like, if the reason they didn't make him from Atlantis is because Aquaman had already come out, that's like some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard on my entire life. Like, why?
Yes.
That makes no sense to me. But I understand, because there are ignorant people out there who have nothing better to do than to sit on social media and make these videos that are wrong, and nobody calls them on it, because either it gets into like a tribal thing, or the people that do have comic book knowledge, like the people assembled here, like, really don't want to take the time to inform an ignorant idiot, like, what you're saying is wrong. This has no, like, it's wrong. Just stop it. Because there are other things to do in life other than sit on social media and bicker with somebody over something to be patently false.
Facts.
Kind of got off topic. I mean, within the neighborhood of the topic, but let's get back to the article. I do want to read some major parts of it. Like, the reasons for the exit are unclear. That's huge. But she parted ways with Marvel on Friday, sources say. Let's see here. She's been with the company since the earliest days of the MCU, 17-year run, watching the studio grow from operating above a Mercedes-Benz dealership in Beverly Hills to being acquired by Disney. You guys see the angle the Hollywood Reporter is taking it? They're like, she's part of we were at the Mercedes-Benz dealership all the way to the head office is in Burbank, California. Was it Burbank, Trinity? Where are they?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. I'm sure there's one there.
During her tenure, the MCU became the highest-grossing franchise in film history. Now,
but it's not because of her.
Yes, but when you word it this way,
exactly.
It's definitely because of her. Did you not read the article? The Hollywood Reporter.
But if this occurred like during her tenure, she moved up in the ranks, whether that was a diversity thing or not, because she is female and she is gay and she's also Hispanic. So that's like the trifecta right there. So you put her in a position of power, saying, "Hey, you know what? We're diverse and all this other stuff." And then you got somebody making knuckleheaded moves like calling the X-Men the mutants because you think you're being what is the patriarchy, the matriarchy? I always get those two confused. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. It was just like it's Professor Xavier's like men. Like, Jean Grey was there, but there was like 4 out of 5 were dudes. So I mean, but even then, it wasn't even. I didn't see that as being the descriptor for their gender, just as the team. Like,
but you read the comics.
Yes. You read the comics and you find these things out. Like, there are women in the X-Men. Like, I mean, it's just, I mean, so I don't know. I want somebody that's in there that actually, you know what? I want Amani. Put Amani in there. This is it. Let her work her way, and then eventually she can succeed Kevin Feige once he leaves.
Oh, Iman Vellani, right?
I'm there for that. Let's bring
her there.
Let's bring Iman Vellani into this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm all
Absolutely,
for it.
Because then things will get done right. They will get done accurate. And these characters that we've been following for 20, 30, 40 years, it's been around for, I think, 50 or 60 years now, then everybody will come to them the way we did, because they weren't catering to us when we found these characters and we found these properties. We saw them and we found something that we liked in them. And this whole thing of, representation, and you have to have things look that way, and you're making business decisions based on this, like that idiot, that knucklehead that produced Wakanda Forever, who said, "Oh, if we get a writer who's a fan of comic books, that's a red flag." Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
that's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
You're an idiot.
Like,
You're next, Nate.
While you don't want someone who's like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna make a direct adaptation of Uncanny X-Men 137 when Dark Phoenix happened. You don't want that, but you do want someone who knows what happened in there and can take like what Marvel used to do, where they would cherry pick the things that they wanted to take and put into a story and make that story palatable for everybody, not just for the comic book people that know it, but for normies that come in and can get attached to the story too. So now that we got her, somebody needs to get him out of there too, because I mean, this is what happens.
The thing with Mon Vellani is she's from Canada. She's a lady.
Wait, she's from Canada? I take it back. Forget it. No,
that's a true trifecta. Come on now.
Well, Victoria Alonso always been a producer, right? And I think there's some cases where, for example, with Man of Steel, Christopher Nolan was a producer, but he had a whole lot of input in it. Not too much, but he had some input. Like, he was working closely on the movie. Most producers just kind of invest into the movie, and people give too many producers on the film too much credit. Victoria Alonso always been a producer on these movies, but just because she's a producer doesn't mean she had really that much input. I remember James Cameron was a producer on Alita Battle Angel. I'll be honest with you, I liked the movie, but he clearly didn't, because if James Cameron really produced it, he would have marketed that movie like crazy. He would have talked about it, gassed it up. He was like, I'm putting my name on it. Let's see where it goes. It's like you did the bare minimum. That's all you did. A lot of these producers just do the bare minimum with these movies, while there's actually people working on it on the ground.
She started off as the visual effects supervisor and then got promoted to the producer. Yeah. And a lot of times when you're in positions like that, you don't necessarily drop those duties. You're just basically overseeing that, and you're still responsible for it. Even if somebody comes in and takes your spot, you're still expected to take care of that, because that was your baby originally. And I think that's why, I mean, her ass is on the line for so much to do with it.
So wait, do we have a definitive definition of what a producer does?
Well, it really does kind of depend. A lot of times, like K-Dot was saying, a lot of times they are just the money that people put up, but then there are other people who take more of an executive role where they are there. They're calling the shots between the different things that are going on.
Well, right, because if you're the money, wouldn't you want to have some say in how that money is spent?
Right. She's not deciding that. She's the chief of visual effects and post-production. It doesn't sound like she gets the budget.
Well, that was originally.
That's why that's why I just mentioned earlier with like most of these producers, they're some of them just investing money, but they don't have that much involvement besides the money. Like I'm talking like the creative process of the film. That's why I mentioned it, because people give most of these producers, especially some of these big name ones, too much credit. Like James Cameron, like I said, for Alita Battle Angel, he did not do. Robert Rodriguez did the most of that movie in his thing. I like James Cameron, but he no.
Sometimes they give producers or executive producers like credits to like the actors too, because I just watched that Donald Glover show Swarm, and the chick that plays the main character in there, she was one of the producers, and I mean, she was talking about the way, how like if there was a scene and she felt she would give her input and they would listen to it more because she was, I guess, a producer or something, as opposed to just being an actor.
That's the same thing with Jenna Ortega right now. She's about to get a producer role for Wednesday for season 2.
But see, Chill highlighted something. She in 2021. What was her? Is she president of what? Like, so she's not even president physical and post-production, visual effects, and animation production. So she's not even, I guess, a producer that has anything to do, you would assume, with the stuff then.
She oversees, so she's like, "Good job, buddy. Good job."
So maybe this has nothing to do with the content of the material or the presentation of material, but with the criticisms of the VFX stuff that's been coming out. Maybe that's why she got fired.
Well, yeah.
I mean, more than
100%,
likely,
yeah.
More than likely, it is that. But see, with these superhero movies in general, like, I'm not sure. Okay, well, let's just stick with the Marvel thing. With the movies they need to do, because they want to have so much different options on, hey, we need to back out of this. Let's not put this scene in the movie. Let's have the visual effects team make all these scenes. So, just in case we can interchange stuff. Because that was the biggest issue. Like they with Marvel, they put in way more they put in way more requests for a film. Like, we need all these different scenes. So just in case if things need to be changed, we can just take that scene out, put this one in. And it's like, wow, we just worked on this scene and y'all just kind of wasted it.
Well, they were joking about, like, the special effects thing in She-Hulk, that final episode where, like, I'm going to transform here or something like, and the camera moved, and then when it came back, it was Tatiana.
Because they didn't have enough money to pay for it. Yeah. Hey, you joked a year ago, and where are we now? The Trinity, was She-Hulk not the thing that just made me and you just go, man, we're not even going to do these live streams anymore. Like, who cares? It's pretty not much eventful. It was like 20-minute like very, very empty episodes. Hey, you mentioned something, Mike, a minute ago about Kamala Khan's powers. They're going to say that Mr. Fantastic is taking it. That She-Hulk episode where a dude jumped out the window and he survived because he could heal himself, Mr. Immortal. They're not going to say, "Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine are robbing him of his powers."
No, but see, but that was like a Z character. They don't care about that. It's only the characters of importance that they're going to say that. So
healing has become so common in the superhero realm. Like, everybody has some form of healing now.
So it doesn't apply. Fine, Ms. Marvel.
Well, yeah, it's not that it doesn't apply. I'm not saying your example isn't a good one. I like to call a spade a spade. But
it's when it applies.
You don't have a lot of characters that like stretch like that.
Elongated Man, I got rid of him because he tweeted 10 years ago something bad.
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. I'm Elongated Man tweeted
Elongated
something.
Man. Well, the actor that played the Elongated Man in the Flash show, he tweeted something that was problematic, so they got rid of him. On a show that apparently is about second chances and giving everybody, letting them learn from their mistakes, they decided to fire a dude that tweeted something like 9 years ago or whatever.
It depends what he tweeted, but I still want to open that can of
worms. Get
back to Victoria Alonso. I don't want to do it. If it's troublesome, then let's not even get into that discussion. The topic is Victoria. You said something about She-Hulk, right? Well, she's definitely had a position in the She-Hulk show. Where is it? They actually say the word She-Hulk somewhere here. Nope, I cannot see it. That was another article. Her departure comes in the shadow of Ant-Man Quantumania, poor showing at the box office and among critics and fans. Let's just take a pause. The Hollywood Reporter just called something a poor showing at the box office. That is the harshest thing that they will ever do because they want to maintain a relationship with the studio. Trinity, was it not a poor showing or was it more than that?
It was a poor showing, but they left out some other titles there. There's definitely other titles that have had poor showings before this. I mean, let's not act like Wakanda Forever was blowing away box office records. Let's not pretend like Doctor Strange did, or let alone Thor: Love and Thunder. Like, come on.
But see,
they forgot some titles there.
Here's the thing:
the box office growth was really slow, like slower than usual.
Rogue?
I just see this. Okay, so let's say, Chillmonger, your favorite show was Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I know DC Dots liked Hawkeye for that one scene with Kate Bishop, and I, despite Trinity and you having PTSD from She-Hulk, I didn't really mind She-Hulk at that much. So Marvel has done things that 4 separate individuals have enjoyed. Now, there are people in this sphere who get on here and are declaratively negative or trashing Marvel's Phase 4 as being terrible, and then they'll be like, oh well, there's this one thing I like this, and then you go to someone else and they'll say, oh, it was trash except for this one thing, and they'll all be different things. Marvel, the way they were for the first 3 phases, for the first 10 years, they were building towards the main story, which was Thanos eventually. Now they have characters who aren't as interactive with each other as they were back then. Because I mean, like if you want to say, Guardians were the outliers of the first 3 phases because they were off in outer space and whatever, and they had really no contact with any of the other but Cap would cross over with Iron Man and Hulk, etc.
I got you, yeah.
So like we're in this new phase where they're going to like, I don't want to say it's not going to be for everybody, but there'll be something that other people would like that some don't. Like I couldn't stand the I don't like the cosmic stuff in the comic books at all, but something about Eternals, just maybe because of in my mind, I'm like, okay, look at all the places they can go with this, because this opens up different aspects of what could happen in Marvel, and I enjoyed the movie despite it being as bad as it was. See,
well,
but
go on.
But this is what some people have to realize, because they expect everything or every character to be done the way they want them to be done. Like we're all sitting here and we would like the character to be done the way they are in comic books, because we all read the comic books and we all know how they are, and we pick the best runs. Because like if we're talking about the X-Men, I'm sure none of us here would mention the Chuck Austin run on X-Men, because that was,
am I right?
Okay, so we wouldn't do that. But like, we can pick like, for Winter Soldier, we could pick some of the Brubaker stuff. I mean, we wouldn't pick some of the other lesser than stuff. And that's how we want the character to be represented.
Yeah, we would choose Captain America's with Cap.
With Steve Rogers. You're right. And I would pick Falcon with Sam, not whatever dude's name is.
I see you. Chill. Don't worry.
I can see you.
Yeah, I think one of the larger problems that they've had, and I've talked about this quite a bit here, just with the Phase 4 stuff, is the fact that the movies themselves don't serve the characters or the film itself more so than the larger MCU. Everything's just leading on to something else. Where you go through the first 3 phases, all those films are standalone films serving the character and that story of the movie, and they have a slight crossover, one little thing that'll cross over into the next movie, and that was about it. They just had little connections there, not the whole movie is just leading to the next movie. I mean, they did, but not the whole universe. It was they were just building everything out way differently then.
Do you think the fans helped exacerbate that? Because I mean, like WandaVision, absolutely. For example, like the Mephisto things, like they were just going crazy over that. So
yeah, that's a problem.
And they were just,
I think part of it is like, oh, it's so formulaic, and then they break from the formula, and then what's everybody crying about? Like, hey, it's terrible.
That was Eternals though, because as bad as you could say Eternals was, it wasn't a typical Marvel movie, and people were criticizing it because it wasn't a Marvel movie. And it's like, well, y'all criticize all Marvel movies are the same and they're trying to do something different, and now you're criticizing it because it's not what you.
But how does any of this?
I would say it's a Marvel film. I would say it's a Marvel film, not a Marvel movie.
But does Victoria Alonso being out of the company really change any of this? The continuity issues and everything we've been discussing over the last 5 minutes of this conversation? Not really.
No, the majority of her issues is the visual effects, which people have been heavily criticizing since Phase 4 did start. It's not like Marvel didn't have any spotty CGI before, but before it was spotty in Phase 1, 2, and 3. It wasn't like in Phase 4 where it's glaring. Because I mentioned this when we was doing our Mandalorian stream, right? Even though they're different divisions of the same company, it just blew my mind why the Mandalorian looks better than WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. While I like Falcon and the Soldier, like why does the Mandalorian made by the same company, Disney,
Industrial Light's Magic,
times better,
credited place?
But then these Marvel shows, I'm not saying that the shows are bad because of visual effects. But it's just a total disconnect from the same company making this product.
They're ugly bastards, aren't they?
Because they're shooting in the volume.
Because that was going to be the appeal of the TV shows. Like we're finally getting like big budget movie quality TV shows. The Mandalorian feels like a big budget Star Wars film.
And it's better than these Victoria Alonso VFX movies.
Right.
As bad as that MODOK is, and then the Thor: Love and Thunder, when little asterisk, the boy that's Heimdall's son, when he had his visual thing, this happened on your watch, Victoria.
Yeah.
Maybe they need young people to work on VFX just for because their vision is better. I'm half joking, but I do mean that maybe. But also, women have better vision.
You're not wrong. There's some young people doing visual effects now on YouTube and stuff that these companies should hire. I mean, some of these underrated creators are really good at their work.
Lucasfilm did that. They got Shamook, the YouTuber, and now Luke Skywalker in the second season looked better. In Book of Boba Fett, he looked a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Promote him. Promote him again.
Promote him to the director of post-production and VFX and animation over at Lucasfilm or over at Marvel. Give him that job, too. He can't be too busy.
Or like Mike said,
sure.
and look, I'm not completely against the guy. I kind of agree with him. Let's put Yvonne Vellani up in power, Like, I'm not against it. Yeah, she's young. She can work her way up to eventually take some spots. I
like this one.
See her be a producer.
Yeah.
She like one thing that I seen her do, and she admitted it. She does challenge Feige. Not saying she challenged him and she's hard to work with, but she'll challenge his opinion. She's not a yes woman.
Yeah,
exactly. 616.
One thing I think too is I think one of the biggest problems is that people don't really care about the characters that they're creating right now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't care about the Eternals, right? Black Widow came 2 phases too late. Did anyone really care about Shang-Chi? Not really.
I'm happy that it happened.
I did enjoy Shang-Chi. I was never
right, but was it a character that you would say, yeah, we need to do a Shang-Chi movie?
No,
They never needed it. I would.
Probably a Netflix. I can see Shang-Chi as a Marvel Netflix TV show.
I would just because I like Kung Fu and I like the Bruce Lee stuff going on. And I think they could have went more in that direction. But yeah, I mean, again, I also know it's something that's not going to have mass appeal as well.
Yeah. It was the 25th movie coming out of the studio, so I'm not mad at you if Shang-Chi's your 25th movie. That's all good.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But what I'm saying is, I think that's the decline. It's like you got no Robert Downey Jr., you got no Steve Rogers, you know what I mean? Black Widow is gone. These are the ones that have been carrying us through the first 3 phases. Like, they're all
and you know what's funny
is
it's a generation too.
Because I think there was going to be 2 leaders that we was going to get. Sadly, one of them passed away, and it was Chadwick Boseman. I know for sure Chadwick Boseman would have been at the forefront. Like, he would have been either the Steve or the Tony Stark of the universe. I don't know who the second would have been. Maybe
Chadwick Boseman would have been in the studio like this.
You are wrong. All of you are wrong.
Like, I think one, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, and that's one thing that did keep phase 1 and 3 like up, was having two central figures. While they're not the most popular characters of the Marvel universe, but 2 central figures that was like 2 sides of the same coin.
Oh, Iron Man and Cap?
Yeah, 2 sides of the same coin in the sense that let it out.
Right.
And we don't have that because I think they tried to attempt it with Doctor Strange, but you look at his sequel, and while I like his sequel, the biggest takeaway from it was Wanda, ooh, mother. It's like, dang. Yes, it's his movie, but wow, Wanda's the biggest takeaway from his own movie. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. And I think that, I don't know, maybe if they had, someone they could build on like they did with Cap and Iron Man, we might have a little better phase, right? But because of that, it's just like people are like, why do I care?
Some people are saying Blade was the best part of the Eternals. Multi-topic talk in the building. Eternals was a late 4-quarter release, introducing those characters after Thanos died was their first mistake. Hey, Adam Warlock.
Yeah, and I think now it's some stuff you can't think of like ahead of time, right? And some stuff just like comes spontaneously. But a lot of these Phase 4 characters, I'll be honest with you, would have probably benefited in showing up in the Battle of Endgame. Not saying they had to have a big part, or yes, it would have been random, but I mean, we had Howard the Duck show up, and he barely showed up in movies. But let's say the Eternals did show up to help join the battle against Thanos. Because introducing these characters in something prior does help boost the next thing. Like, I look at Aquaman. That Justice League movie did suck, but him being introduced in that did help people go to even see that Aquaman movie and help it make $1 billion. We've seen it in the MCU. Look at what it did for Black Panther, introducing Civil War. Film made $1 billion, but that's because the Black community was right behind that movie, and it was a different type of thing for us. But regardless, introducing them in something else does help.
And I think that's valid for the Wakanda Forever audience too. There's people who are watching that movie who probably don't tune in to see Quantumania, tune in to see Thor, tune in to see maybe the new audience, or the Black audience, we'll call it, for Wakanda Forever, kind of masked this Quantumania thing, this decline, because it's just new people who are into the Black movie.
Mm-hmm.
I like Eternals. Look at 3 Eternals fans in a row. Mike,
wow.
We got Jerence Bowman, welcome to the stream, sir. And Skip, who says, I still say it just wasn't as exciting of a movie. Oh, and Trinity, fine. Shot really well, decent cast, stupid parts of the plot, and not enough unique action. Yeah. The anti-woke people, you mean racists, live their best lives right now since they see that as a victory. I don't care. You mentioned it, so yeah, sure, we'll get it to you. But we didn't bring that up once.
Kennedy said earlier, we don't know who's going to come in now. It could
also,
be
they're happy, but on his point though, the happiness of that YouTuber and that YouTuber and that YouTuber, just because I dislike them, it doesn't affect me. I don't want to give them the power to affect my mood because I dislike them so much.
I think most of those people don't care, but the only thing they care about is they're going to still make a video and make money off of it.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they really care at this point, though.
100%, I agree with you. I don't think they care at all, but they know it's what gets them the clicks. People watching their channel makes the money. So this is what we're going to talk about.
In a way, I'm doing the same thing because this is a monetized stream. Like,
I would do the same. I'm going to do the same thing.
But the difference with you guys is you'll do this one video and then move on to something else, right? With them, it's constant. Every video is this and that.
I find a reason why it's Brie Larson's fault.
You know what I mean? Like, you put 100 videos about Brie Larson or 100 videos about woke diversity and all kinds of stuff. Listen, if you want to talk about it, you don't like it, whatever, you go, you make your stream, you do whatever you want to do. But to harp on it every single video, that's what's annoying.
That stuff is miserable.
And speaking of which, I was gonna go on.
You go.
I was gonna say, I think it was Alonso saying earlier too about having people involved that want to be in these movies and want to be involved. I think that's a huge thing, and I think that's kind of where the tables turned at too. Because if you look at the first 3 phases, all the people who were in it, the actors who are basically not around now, those people wanted to be in the MCU. Mm-hmm. They wanted to play these characters because they were nobody back then. Not the actors, but the characters and everything. The studio, it was nothing back then. Nobody wanted anything to do with Marvel Studios and being a superhero. After they've done these phases, now everybody wants to, and I don't think it's for passion of the characters like
Not
it was
anymore.
for some of the previous people.
Yeah, it's what's the payday is now, right? You're going to be in a Marvel movie. You're possibly to have $1 billion movie. You get a lot of recognition, right? But back in the day, like you said, when it first started, you would never hear of these big actors. You can go and listen to some of their old videos where they're like, no, I would never do a superhero movie or anything like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right? You got Samuel Jackson in them. You got Robert Redford in them, Christian Bale. You got all these guys doing comic book movies now.
I mean, to be fair, Sam Jackson always been chill. Like, he did Star Wars. He'll do almost anything.
No, I know. But back in the day, they wouldn't have. Trust me, they wouldn't have done that. It would have been like doing a commercial for them. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't doing no commercials, and now they do the commercials like crazy now because the money's involved.
But see, Anzo, they say they don't want to do the commercials, but they'll go overseas in Japan and they do some crazy commercials, man. Because there's and now with the internet though, now they know they'll get over here. But back then, I mean, I used to see some ridiculous commercials with people that wouldn't be caught, selling stuff here.
Mm-hmm. It's because they were paying the big bucks to come over there and do those commercials. You know what I mean? And that's where it comes into where it's like, it's not about the passion of the characters anymore or being involved in this. It's about, how much money can I make? What can this do for my career? Okay, let's do it.
Well, like that Donald Glover show, Swarm, the chick that's in there, one of the chicks that's in there is the Little Mermaid's sister.
Yeah,
I guess.
Chloe.
Yeah, she apparently wants to be Storm now because she was in an
Really?
interview I saw, and she was like the interview said, oh, what Disney, what if Disney did a live action, brought a live action show, an animated movie,
I'll take
to
her
live
as
action,
Storm
who
if
do
she
you
want
want
to
to
do the
play?
voice. That's all you gotta do is the voice.
No, she if you wanted to do an animated show live action, what character would you play? And then she didn't say that. She said she wanted to be Storm.
I'm gonna say this: she is fine. I would definitely be okay with watching her as Storm.
See, but we got into that with Halle Berry to begin with. We don't need to go down that
Yeah,
road.
you're
again.
right. You're right. Halle Berry was fine too. And
Angela Bassett should have been Storm, but anyways,
Man, yeah, that would have been the best, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. But see, a customer of mine did explain that unfortunately she would have been saddled in those crappy Fox X-Men movies. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you done? Are you done?
We go to this article, and it says, in addition to her behind-the-scenes work, Alonso has been an important ambassador for the studio's representation efforts and was outspoken during Disney's dispute with Florida over its Don't Say Gay bill. Hey, we were talking about those YouTubers. Trust me, this paragraph here in the article will be the highlight of their videos. As long as I am at Marvel Studios, I will fight for representation, Alonso, who is gay, said at this time. Why do they have to put that in the, that's it, who is gay?
Who wrote this?
It was written by this dude up here, Boris Kitt, or rather, Aaron.
No, two
Couch.
people, Aaron Couch.
Two. Boris and Aaron. There you go. Where are we now? She was named People's and Espanol magazine's most influential Hispanic woman in 2019. Why her? What do you mean her? What's her? Who's signed? She's Hispanic. See,
it doesn't. But dude, like you need to put the work in, and I don't think she did that.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? When they get these labels like that, look, I've heard of Victoria Alonso, but the only time I've heard of her, yes, she was a producer on these Marvel movies. She's in the background. But like the biggest thing I've seen her do was make a fool of herself and say X-Men name is outdated. How's she the most influential woman?
I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group. So I think it's out.
It's not to say she didn't have a big part in helping the universe like she did, but it's like, what influence did you like have?
That wasn't
because I grew up with this MCU stuff in 2008. I was just a kid. It was middle school, but I never once heard of her. That's why I never cared to look at credits and movies and stuff. But I never ever heard of her until she said that X-Men comic.
That sentence that you read, Chill, was completely superfluous and made no difference to anything in that article. That's kind of like giving Hispanic people a Grammy. Okay, no, when you give somebody a Grammy, doesn't mean your music is good. Just means that it happened to be the most popular right then at that moment, at that particular moment in time. Okay, so her with the being 2019 or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Oh, she's not going to win the 2021 award. True question. Will CGI improve now with Alonso out? Everyone on this panel will say yes to that. Yes.
I don't know yet.
I think so.
I don't know yet because
time will tell.
They could possibly hire somebody that could be worse. I mean, look at the recent thing with YouTube. They kicked out CEO. Now we got somebody who's even worse. He likes NFTs.
Well, they're scaling back their output, so maybe that'll help too.
Right. Well, I think a lot of that is, shouts out to Iger because, at least in his book, he did acknowledge the faults, right? And now knowing these faults, he's coming back with, knowing these and hopefully improving. And, we see that him wanting to scale back. Less TV shows, less movies. Not to say we're going to stop making these, but just less so we can focus on a quality, not a quantity. Because they started honestly turning into Netflix.
We could have had a quantity of quality also if we just decided what shows to do and had an X-Men. If we should be in season 4 of the yearly X-Men show where they just chill in the academy and they have new mutants popping in here and there. We should be 4 years into that, but we're not.
Well, would you trust the current people at Marvel to do the X-Men well? Like the way you've seen certain things, like these Rick and Morty people, Like it's an infestation. They need to get rid of all of those Rick and Morty people.
Fine, no Rick and Morty writers, but you found Malcolm Spellman who did Falcon Winter Soldier, which I'm a fan of. You can
That's
scout
actually
people.
a good one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. And actually, after we've had all the Rick and Morty writers, I'm willing to give Jack Schaefer a second try.
Oh, the WandaVision and Agatha Harkness one?
I mean, Mike does make a point about this. I was saying the same thing too. We looked at the credits of some of these Phase 4 people. You know, it's not to say that some people they want to give people a chance and give them work and stuff. You know, you want
so you give them anthologies. Do an anthology show, like if you want to do What If again or something like that. Give them something where they can. No, don't do that. Don't do that, dismissive Chillmonger. No,
it has no ramifications on the universe.
But you give these people their shot so you can see what they can accomplish, what they can do. You don't give them these multi-million-dollar movies or even the TV shows.
Their auditions are things that you did outside of Marvel Studios, and then from what you've done, we can decide you're good enough for us.
Those aren't the same thing.
Okay, it's like this. Once they let's go back to WandaVision because they should have started seeing this trend at WandaVision. The writer of WandaVision. She was saying some very like.
Well, see, wait, you can't judge it. You can't judge it by what she says. You can't judge it by the publicity. You have to judge it by what they did in the show.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
because I know what she was wilding out. I understand that.
It goes in part with what because it was some stuff where she's saying, "Well, I didn't read that comic with Mephisto in it," but it's like you have clear references to Mephisto. Mm-hmm. So what did you read?
She was lying.
It's like
she was lying.
You didn't read nothing about Mephisto. Now, I'm not the WandaVision people that was like, "Oh, Mephisto's coming, Mephisto all alone." No, I was never one of them. I was telling all the people, "You guys are idiots. You think Reed Richards and Mephisto showing up? You're stupid."
A lot of people were thinking that though, K-Dot.
I'm not saying, but because they with the Mephisto stuff, they did set it up. I'm not going to lie. There was hints of Mephisto up in there, but the writer was saying, "Well, I didn't really read that comic with Mephisto in it." That the show is like literally taking inspiration from House of M.
Reefer Man's in the building. He says, "Hi guys, thank you, Reefer Man, for showing up here on my birthday. Thumbs up the stream, everyone. 36 people watching right now on this impromptu live stream. We're about done. It's my birthday today.
It's mine too.
I knew
what
it.
The hell?
Get out.
Oh, damn.
Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday to us.
Yeah.
Felicity says, "I'm glad someone likes the Eternals, but normies didn't care. And they are the ones that need money for." The thing is, Eternals had, and it had an excuse, and it still does, of that time period that it came out, November of 2021. Maybe people were still sensitive towards coming outside. Some lockdowns were still in effect, at least in Canada. They have that. Same with Shang-Chi.
I mean, chill. As a resident MCU hater, and you're hearing this from me, all the films that came out during the pandemic, they get a pass. Like any film that came out during the pandemic gets a pass.
But was it a sign though? Should we have been like, no? Because when it came down to Spider-Man, they did leave their homes to watch that. And
I mean,
that's three Spider-Men in there, dude. They would.
That's a tough. It's not this. Now maybe maybe the pandemic kept it from making $3 billion, but it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a guarantee. You're safe.
Mm-hmm.
If it was Batman, you're safe. Batman probably would have done like $2 billion. But okay, you put Batman in the same position No Way Home, put Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson one movie, $2 billion too.
No, stop it.
Revive Adam West in the grave and put Adam West in the movie. $3 billion.
Hold on,
I know I had some copium around here somewhere.
It's not actually my birthday, but it's the joke. Me, Trinity, Wayne, we all have a joke where you say it's your birthday because people are more inclined to thumbs up your video and be nicer to you. It's a life hack. Everyone, if you just want a life hack, just tell people it's your birthday. You get a free ride everywhere you go.
All right, it's my birthday.
Honestly,
channel updates work too.
I give them a pass for the pandemic stuff. I don't excuse them for this, but the pandemic stuff that hindered everybody. It hurt Warner Brothers, Disney. It's like you kind of got to be a little bit lenient because everybody was hurting. Video game industry, everyone.
Yeah,
everybody put on the freshman 15.
I agree with you 100%. A lot of people like to use what the movies did during the pandemic and like, oh, the movie, and I'm like, you can't really judge that because things were locked down. Certain movie theaters were like 50% capacity, so you can't really blame that. You can't really. I give them a pass too, Kata.
Is it true fans are segmented? Some are just fans of smaller sub-franchises, like some are Iron Man fans or Thor franchise. Yeah, that is true. And there's people who are going to say, I'll wait for streaming to watch Ant-Man, like they did with the first two. You're not doing the same thing, Chill. You wouldn't lie or put something in bad light only for the clicks. Yes, you want to be monetized, but you're not a sellout either. Thank you for those kind words that you wrote about 12 minutes ago. We are late when it comes to these live chats. So we'll read the live chats and then, shut up, Mike. We'll read the live chats and then we'll head out because we're basically done with this Victoria Alonso topic. It says Ant-Man made 39 million in China. Quantumania? Okay, sure.
But China really, they really don't really care much about MCU movies as much. You know what I mean?
They did for Endgame.
Yeah, that was an event, though. You know what I mean? Endgame was an event movie, so it was gonna do good. It was gonna do good. Yeah.
I think it made 700 million, if not maybe 600, but it did a whole lot. Bo-Katan was a better Captain Marvel. You're killing me. He said, badly written, these professors are quick to hand out F grades nowadays. I don't know what he's referring to 10 minutes ago. What does he mean, Trinity?
I'm assuming he's talking about somebody saying that there was bad writing, and that being their opinion, he's saying they're got a terrible opinion.
Hey, just let me get started on my writing career and then prove everyone wrong. Kardashians are going to move to Wakanda. Facts. Who said? Somebody liked that joke. Can't just be about looks. They gotta embody the spirit of the character so we can be better immersed in the movie. I still ain't seen Wakanda. Never. Okay. See you later, Albozo. The Kingpin as Hawkeye was wearing a Steve Harvey suit. The Kingpin and Hawkeye. The floral thing? No. Steve Harvey has rules. Everyone needs a brown shirt and it matches with a beige
Yeah, you
hat.
seen that video? Yeah.
Let's see here. Reefer Man says, I'm confusing Victoria Hand and Alonzo. It's Victoria Alonzo. Keep going. Oh, people are just messaging themselves. Salaam alaikum. Wa alaikum salam. Unless the Grammy goes to my favorite artists, I want more. The females are just X-Men. This is why I was a fan of that comic franchise, because both the male and the female X-Men were cool as hell. What's wrong with Rick and Morty? Rick and Morty? It's not a show with much continuity. It's not the breeding grounds for what I want for Marvel. Go talk to Zeb Wells. That's good. Chris Yost. That's cool. But there's certain people, Joss Whedon, it's people with comic knowledge that would use their knowledge here.
But see, hold on, because you said that when I said that they should have, like, anthology series where these people can get, their cut their teeth on. You said, oh, their previous experience is what it's going to be. I said that's not the same thing, because you could get somebody like Ta-Nehisi Coates, who won a couple of Pulitzers, and have him write, I don't know, say Captain America and Black Panther, and watch it go horribly down the drain. Because just because you can write a book, a novel, doesn't mean you can write a comic book. So just because you can do, say, Rick and Morty or, I don't know, Vampire Diaries or something like that, does not mean that that'll transfer to a Marvel movie.
There's a reason I use Joss Whedon and not.
Well, just now, but no, I'm talking about before when this comment was made about Rick and Morty. 10 minutes ago, when you got this comment and you didn't read it. 10 minutes ago.
Halle Berry Storm is going to have a secret child with M'Baku. I'm not done. I'm not reading this. Vicky, Luis have mostly been in the background. Kevin, Nate have been at the forefront. Nate has done more babbling than all of them combined, though. Nate is the fall guy. Only lately. Only because of the Wakanda Forever thing. Oh, and we got a little super chat coming out of Multi-Topic Talk. Which one should I use? I know. This one.
Money.
Mercedes Money. The champ. Thank you very much. And he says, happy birthday, guys. Oh, I think he gave that under the owner. Like, he believed it was our birthday.
It is my birthday.
What did I tell you guys? Yeah, it's our birthday. It's Trinity's birthday. So thanks Trinity Mom for borning him today.
Anytime.
Oh, we got another one from the Spoiler King. Money. Thank you again. Look,
it's amazing you showed the better wrestler second.
we got all the money landing here on the stream. Thank you to the pro wrestling world, and thank you to Multi-Topic Talk and Spoiler Kings. Happy birthday, super stickers. It's all love. See, didn't I tell you guys? Just say it's your birthday. It's the life hack to life. All you gotta do is your birthday. I get money out of it. It's $7.20. Kimoya Kid says Nate got his foot in the mouth disease. Dang, happy birthday. I'm 45 on the 30th. That was your birthday. Huh?
Thought that was your birthday.
Oh, Rahat, that was your birthday. Happy birthday, Monger. Look at this. All right. Let's go back to like when people wrote long comments that meant something. Video game industry didn't get hurt by the pandemic. The video games boomed bigger. Who said that? Kata. You said video games got hurt, right? Samuel wants to pick a fight with you. Bad dope. Thor #1 wanted, not the fun dope. Everything was put on Disney Plus after the theater run. How did those movies do when no one left home? Like Trinity said, keep snorting that copium. How Alonzo are we going? Oh, we're about to wrap up. Whose birthday is it? It's everyone's birthday. I have never seen a whole episode of Rick and Morty. Ha ha ha.
Keep it that way.
The first 3 volumes of Coates' Black Panther was actually dope. Wheels fell off the bus shortly after.
Dude, he put him in outer space. I mean,
the start of his Captain America run actually was okay, and then it.
Yeah.
Like the MCU. Mercedes who now? She's a pro wrestler. Cosca Reeves from The Mandalorian. Remember her? One of the Night Owls.
I hope she doesn't come back. Please don't.
Trinity the Old and Wise. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. You can tell people just jumped on. Peace. Have a great stream. We're done this stream. Thanks everyone for joining. Now, Trinity, you said you were going to do a live stream right after this, didn't you?
I probably won't be able to today since we got on here and did this. I am going to get a video shot kind of talking about some of this stuff, though, for sure.
Okay. Look out for that. Second Street Marvel is his channel. I'll put it in the description, but you guys should already know who he is. All 27 of you watching live. Thanks and thumbs up. Mike, are you going to be streaming some Fortnite later tonight, Mike?
Yes.
His channel is Rogue Comics. Check him out. K-Dot, who is away from the computer right now. He streams. He does stuff. Check him out. And then Alonzo from Bigford Entertainment.
Yes, sir. The goofy one, guys. Remember that? They call me Goofy. It's all good. We'll be on Chaos Central for Chris's show, The Rule of 3. So make sure to check that out. Should be fun.
Okie dokie. Toodles.